DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks, and you're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you on this Blue Friday. But I got to tell you, I'm having the Blue Friday blues right now because after that beatdown by the LA Rams and watching Russell Wilson go down and the state of the team right now, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough for us 12s right now. But that's why we're doing this. The return of the Roundtable, at least a partial return of the Roundtable because we don't have everybody, but we're having a little bit of a return of the Roundtable to talk and air just a few of our feelings about where we are with this team, the outlook with the future here to come, and what does this mean for us 12s? How do we look at this season 5 games in and the way the situation looks right now? Is our season stuck, or is there reasons to still have hope? We're going to talk about that for a little bit here. But before we get into it, I just want to quickly acknowledge Daniel Dovin of Dovin Real Estate Group, who's been helping out, sponsoring me, and supporting my channel. So big thanks to Daniel. Check him out if you ever have any questions about real estate or if you know people who do. Daniel Dovin of the Dovin Real Estate Group is a wonderful supporter, and I appreciate his help this season. All right, so we're going to get into it. And who do we have on board today? Well, here we go. Here are the members of the Roundtable. Well, at least part of them. We've got Seahawks Martin over here. Martin, how you doing, buddy?
It's great. Long time no see. What's up, guys? I know I haven't been around for a while, so it's great to see all of you again. It's great to see you, Norb, you too, Steezy, and hopefully sometime soon we can have Squabo, Brian Apker, and Coach.
Yes, hopefully. It's been a little tricky this season just getting on the same page, kind of like the Seahawks. We just got to get everything in sync. But great, Martin, it's great to see you. And I told you off the air, I said, man, the last time I talked to you, when you were on this a year ago, your voice was like 2 octaves higher. So you can hear your voice is much deeper now, but it's cool. I know you're going into high school next year. Time just keeps on ticking. But let's move over here to Steezy. Steezy, man, it's good to see you too here on the online. We actually did run into each other at the Puyallup Fair like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. I was like, hey, Steezy, what's up? And we didn't think to like shoot a quick video while we were in person there. But anyway, it was cool to see you in person, man. How have you been?
Man, I've been real well. I've actually been to San Francisco a couple of times in the past couple of months, and I've been away from here, but over here I've just been doing my thing, trying to stay busy, trying to grind. But yeah, it's really a pleasure being back on here. I missed you guys. I missed the Roundtable. I missed talking Hawks with you guys. I mean, I didn't have too many people to talk Hawks with, and this is always something I look forward to. So happy to be back on.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you guys here, and hopefully we'll be able to get everybody together and really air some things out. But I feel like so much has happened. I mean, just in the last 24 hours, right? The team was already having its struggles, and now losing that game the way we did, watching the defense, the struggles, the offensive struggles, and then to add injury to insult, Russell Wilson having that dislocated or broken finger, got surgery on it, out for 6 weeks. Maybe with Russell, he tends to speed things up, but we're looking at an extended period of time with him out. So there's a lot of, I'm sure all Seahawks fans are a little bit, feeling a little bit down in the dumps right now. But I guess, where do we begin with this, man? I guess maybe just reactions to where we are with the team right now. Let's start, Martin, with you. Just how do you feel as a Seahawks fan? What's your feeling? How are you just processing all this right now?
I don't know if I'm going insane or not, but for some reason, I don't feel as down as I feel like I should be. I feel like, I don't know why, I feel positive. I don't know if it's because of the way, the fact that, Gino's going to take over for Russell Wilson now that we found out earlier that Russell Wilson's going to be out for 6 weeks. I don't know if it's the fact that we had a strong first half. I don't know if it was that double punt by Michael Dixon. I don't know why. I feel positive. I feel like better things are going to come. I feel like somehow we're going to adjust. And I mean, I might be insane. I know you guys will probably hate on me and think that I'm crazy for this, and you might be right. You guys will probably be right, but I don't know why. I feel positive about it for some reason. I know it was a really tough loss, but something tells me we're just gonna bounce back next week against the Steelers. Overall, the game, I was at the game. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see Nor, but I mean, just to be back and seeing the crowds and everyone going wild, and then the loud chants for Geno after he scored that touchdown. That was pretty cool to be back in that environment. Overall, the game, the first half, we were doing really well, like we always did. You know, the defense was holding. Quandre Diggs coming back in clutch with another interception. Darrell Taylor, really good with getting that sack. But the small thing was that we just kept letting them throw chips down the middle, 10 yards, 15 yards, and that was how they kept driving. It's just that one drive that got ended by Quandre Diggs with the goal line interception. That was the only the reason that they didn't score very much in the first half. Meanwhile, our offense, not bad. You know, driving. There was a lot of missed opportunities with Tyler Lockett, but we got DK in the end zone. He beat Ramsey, which was super satisfying to watch. And so coming into halftime, you know, we missed that field goal. I was thinking, you know what? Now that we have we're going to get the ball in the second half. I think we can score.
And we had a touchdown. We had a touchdown, and it was called back because of the hold, which would have made it 14-3 and would have really changed the momentum. But little things like that just kept biting us in the butt.
So coming to halftime, you know, I was like, okay, you know what? 7-3, not a bad lead. You know, we get the ball second half, we can score. We come out, punt it, and then the defense just collapses. I don't know where to start. Whereas, like, you know, the 3rd and 10 where Matthew Stafford like completely underthrew that just for Deshaun Jackson, 34-year-old Deshaun Jackson, to come back and catch that, and Jamal Adams getting completely lost, thinking that Deshaun Jackson just going to go straight down. And so he just kept running, didn't even realize until like a few seconds later, turned back, and Deshaun Jackson was already blazing past him. That was the beginning of the end for us.
He should have had the interception. He was in position to have the interception. He just didn't see it. It was severely underthrown. All he had to do was turn around and find the ball. But yeah.
That was rough. And then, you know, offense just couldn't get moving. Then you realize that Russ dislocated his finger. He got that mallet finger. It kind of looks like this. Looks really bad. And I remember us being like, oh shoot, what's gonna happen now? Geno keeps us back in the game, gets us back in the game, only for the defense to throw it out away again.
Yeah, right after that drive. Gave it up in like 7 plays. I mean, it didn't take them long at all. It was like, we just got done celebrating, and all of a sudden they're back in our end zone. It just very disheartening.
And then and then the rough interception. That I don't know. I don't know who to blame. I don't know if it's
blame the refs, because there was pass interference there, and he knocked down.
I don't feel like blaming the refs, because when you look back at the replay, he didn't really, you know, make too much contact.
There was contact though, and it caused him to trip.
Not enough contact to,
it was a weird.
It could have been the turf monster. It could have been that Daniel Jones whole thing, you know, where you just trip. But yeah, in the end, you know, you hope that he might miss the field goal, but he didn't. So that was game. It was a tough loss, but something just tells me we're gonna bounce back from it soon.
Well, that's a lot of optimism at this stage. But let me switch over. You brought up a lot of stuff already. Some of it is very frustrating just to think about. But Steezy, how about you, man? Where are you now? Just with the state of things, what's your just feeling as a Seahawks fan? Where are you at right now with everything that's gone on in the last 24 hours?
Real fast before I get into that, Norb, you're gonna hate me, but honestly, I think it was the right call. It was a good no call. I don't think they should have called PI. For whoever was defending Tyler Lockett. Initially, when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a PI. That's a PI. And I don't know if we're seeing or looking at different replays, but I saw a couple of replays, and yes, there was contact. It was minimal, but it was more so Tyler Lockett really tripping himself up. And so I didn't think that, for me, I didn't think it's fair to really blame the rest. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. I just, you know, thought I'd point that out. But as far as, like, you know, the state of the team, I'm sorry, Noah, I know you're going to hate me.
No, it's okay. No. I know it's debatable, and I haven't really watched it that much. I just saw one replay, and at first I thought he just tripped on himself, and then I saw, wait a minute, there was some contact. But believe me, it's I never like to say blame it on the refs. I just kind of half joking about that, but
No,
would have
I
been
blame
nice
the
to
refs
see the
sometimes,
drive.
so
But go on, man. Go on. There's so much to talk about here. So what else you got?
right. You know, for me, I think the one takeaway, not even just from this game, but from the season so far, is that Seattle can't seem to play two halves of football. Seattle only is able or is only capable of playing one good half. And they don't just play good in that particular half. They play great. They play dominant, as evidenced by come halftime against the Rams are 0 for 5 on third down. They scored 3 points in offense that explosive against a defense as bad as ours. They had 3 points. We had a turnover. And as Seahawks Martin pointed out, Darrell Taylor had a sack. Their run game was held in check. Matthew Stafford was overthrowing receivers. He wasn't really, they weren't driving down the field. Robert Woods was doing his thing, but overall the offense looked very stagnant. Week 1 against the Colts, dominant first half, second half, lackadaisical. We still win because the Colts are the Colts. Week 2, Tennessee Titans. We held Derrick Henry in check. We're dominating them in the first half, up by 15-16. Second half, choke. Third game against Minnesota, first half, 17-7. We're dominating the first half. Second half, we don't score a single point. What's it called? Week 4 against the Niners. First half, we were abysmal. Second half, we turned it around. But that just goes to show about my point about how Seattle just can't seem to put it together. They can't play football for an entire 60 minutes. It's like they're playing football for 30 minutes, and then in the other 30 minutes, I don't know what's going on. And I've been on the record saying this, but that has to be on coaching. It's like they're failing to make adjustments. They're not making adjustments when it's needed. It's not completely on the coaches. It's a big indictment on the coaches, but sometimes the players aren't executing right now. The defense is I think we've given up, 400 plus yards every single game?
I think it's 475 plus yards. We're on track. We're setting records as the all-time worst defense in terms of yards given up. And you just brought it up. I wanted to throw out to both you guys is, why? And I keep racking my brain. Who's to blame? Because remember in the first 3 games, everyone's like, "Oh, it's all Trey Flowers. Get Trey Flowers out of there." Almost as if as soon as you remove 21, everything will be fine. Well, guess what? 21's not in there for 2 games, and we're still one of the worst defenses in the league. So it's not him. Can't blame Trey Flowers. So who do you blame? Is it several guys, or is it? Like you said, is it the coaching? Because I'm starting to lean more towards what you're saying. Because I feel like we got talent on both sides of the ball, and yet both sides of the ball are not able to put a full game together, and it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating.
Right, I'm more confident in the offense as opposed to the defense, but I just feel like, especially with Jamal Adams, right, we're looking at him across the board. He was never this bad when he was with the Jets in coverage. Yes. They were actually calling him a tight end eraser. He was a running back eraser. And against receivers, he held his own. But in Seattle, it's like he's not being put in the right positions. We're not blitzing him enough. We're not putting him closer to the line of scrimmage. We're playing him so far off the line of scrimmage. We're taking him away from his game. Everyone's talking about, oh, my gosh, like we wasted 2 first-round picks. No, we did not. He was that dominant in New York. We're not using him correctly. And that's why I'm looking at the coaches like, yo, what is going on? Pete Carroll is priding his defenses on stopping the ground game and stopping the deep ball. And yet we're the worst at both. The defense looks even worse than last year. And we thought last year's was horrible. On average, Seattle is not only last, but they're giving up 451 per game. And like you said, I mean, we're in the record books for the wrong reasons. And so, I mean, I have to look at Pete Carroll, but I'm not going to say that, okay, we fire Pete Carroll and you bring in somebody else and all of a sudden we're going to look dominant. Like, we still have personnel issues. Maybe – and see, we talked about this early, but I do like what Coach Marsh was talking about. He mentioned that when Geno Smith came in, the offensive line looked noticeably better. Did they? Or was it because they didn't have to block as long? Geno Smith was throwing checkdowns. Geno Smith looked poised. Geno Smith was, delivering strikes. And, the offensive line, they knew that they didn't have to block as long. And so, maybe when I don't know. That's why I'm a little bit more confident in Geno Smith than other people are. And so, for me, I take solace in the fact that, like we talked about off air, Geno Smith, first drive in over 4 years, 5 for 5, 98 yards, started from the 2-yard line, threw that touchdown to DK Metcalf. And because we all thought when Russ came out of the game, we were like, oh, my God, Geno Smith? It's over.
Safety. It's about the 2-yard line where it's going to be a safety. It's going to be ugly.
And look, I can't – look, we've gotten away with some calls because in Tennessee or against Tennessee, that Julio touchdown in the first half, that was a touchdown. That would be sack against Russell Wilson that they said, oh, it was down at the one. I'm sorry,
that was a safety.
That one was
and so we've gotten away from a lot of things against the Niners. Jimmy G didn't play in the second half. That was kind of a break. And so we've had some lucky breaks, and we haven't been able to capitalize on that. Not only did LA's offense struggle in the first half against us, but they were committing penalties like crazy. You almost thought that it was the Seahawks playing or disguising themselves as LA Rams because of how many penalties they had. I think in the first half, they didn't commit a single penalty in the second half, but they had 5 penalties for 85 yards. On the season before that, they had, I think, 90 penalty yards. And so they were able to pile up almost 100% of their penalty yards in one half against us. So not only were they stagnant, but they were committing penalties like crazy.
And they were strange penalties. They kicked the ball out of bounds twice to give us the ball at the 40. Who does that anymore? Nobody does that. And they did it 2 times. It's almost like they were saying, hey, guys, let's give you a chance. Let's give them a chance.
Right. It's like they had pity. They were giving us a little pity. It's like, oh, my,
And the fact that we could capitalize on that pity is even worse, to be honest.
Exactly.
And think about it, too. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, but I thought we caught another break when Michael Dixon was able to punt.
I was just going to say that. The Michael Dixon double punt. When has that ever happened? Never.
Right. I saw a couple articles earlier today talking about, it was legal. No, it's not. What what was it called? Michael Pereira or the rule book guy that they brought on? Yeah, Mike Pereira, he was talking about how in the rule book, it states that you cannot punt the ball twice, even if it doesn't pass the line of scrimmage. You can't punt it twice. You don't get 2 opportunities to do that. Michael Dixon was doing the right thing initially. He started scrambling, and then he saw the opportunity, so he was like, oh, I'm going to take the punt. And props to him, my gosh, 2 60-yard punts? The first punt got blocked, but, that's what he's been doing all year. And so we caught another break there, and instead of taking a penalty and being backed up, having to punt again, we catch a break, and, our defense has great field position against their offense, and yet they were able to drive down the field. Robert Woods, 12 catches for 150 yards. I think he had more receiving yards in one game alone than he had in the season combined.
Yeah.
We were all talking about Kyle Kupp. Kyle Kupp's the guy I was enjoying. Got to shut down. Oh, it's not Cooper. Cooper Kupp's the guy we got to shut down. Cooper Kupp this, Cooper Kupp that. And it's like, I guess we forgot there's other receivers on the team.
That's why we got to notice that.
I'm a victim of that. Because in my game preview, I was talking about one of my keys to victory was double team Cooper Kupp, bracket coverage, Cooper Kupp, use everything against Cooper Kupp, let everybody else make plays. And we kind of did that but we ended up paying for it. Robert Woods, wow.
I got so tired of number 2. How many times did we see number 2 across the middle? Number 2 across the middle. Number 2 across the middle. He was like, it's like he was invisible to the rest of the team except to us. It's like, somebody cover number 2 for crying out loud.
Same plays, same formations, same receiver. Every single time. It was always Cooper Kupp as the diversion. And then Robert Woods would come in and I don't know. That was abysmal.
That's why it's
and we couldn't trade. Yeah. I'm sorry, Seahawks, but we couldn't trade even just the 5th round pick for Stephon Gilmore. Oh my gosh, what?
I know. We said that. Richard Sherman and Stephon Gilmore. Oh man.
I don't know.
It's
It's like
it really might be the end of an era. Maybe this is what we need.
Okay, all right. So Steve, hold on to the doomsday button yet. Martin, you're gonna say something.
I was just gonna continue on what Steezy said about Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. It's like Metcalf and Lockett. You were gonna contain one guy, but then there's also that other guy. So honestly, we should have been, maybe running a different scheme instead of having more linebackers. Maybe running a dime, putting Ryan Neal in there more because you saw.
I don't know why they didn't do that. It worked so well against the Niners, and then he was asked about that, Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll just said it wasn't in the game plan. It's like, why wasn't it in the game plan? Because that worked really good.
It worked against the Niners.
Receiver sets. Yeah.
It's like you went right back to the Vikings defense,
And that's why it's on the coaching staff, or we have to really start looking at the coaches now, because it's like us as fans, other people are bringing up adjustments that should be made that aren't being made, and the results on the field are as bad as they are. So why aren't the adjustments being made? Why aren't certain players being taken off the field? Jordan Brooks is continually getting burnt in coverage. That is why when we play more dime against San Fran, the receivers weren't able to get as open because we have more Ds on the field that are actually capable and more confident in coverage. Jordan Brooks, for as much potential as he has, for the pedigree and the talent that he currently has, I'm sorry, but he cannot cover for bleep.
Yeah,
I'm
honestly, I
sorry.
think Brooks is more like a, I don't know, what do you call it, run stopping linebacker, blitzing linebacker.
Yes, yes.
And this is a hot take. I know someone out there will be like, "Oh my gosh, Martin, you're crazy." But I feel like Pete's too stubborn to get away from the game plan. You know how you see all the other
Mhm.
coaches, Kyle Shanahan, Cliff Kingsbury, Sean McVay, all look. Do you see all their game plans? It's all new school. 5 receiver sets, end arounds. Those quick fancy plays. Meanwhile, us just here still running those same plays that we've been running for 5+ years. I don't know. Even with new offensive coordinators, it's still pretty much the same thing, which is disappointing. It's like Pete doesn't want to go away from that old school style. So I don't know. I don't know. He might be just stubborn to change.
And speaking of the offense, I've been waiting for the Shane Waldron system to show how great and spectacular it was going to be, especially in this game, because this is the Shane Waldron, how he came from the Rams. So I figure, okay, well, if any team knows how to beat another team, is the guy who came from their system. Well, I still feel like I'm waiting for that system to show up because I'm not seeing anything special. I don't know about you guys, but do you feel like you're seeing anything that makes you go, oh, now I recognize the Shane Waldron system? I just haven't seen it. And I know that D. Eskridge was running a lot of jet sweeps in the first game, but then he's been knocked out since, and now he's on IR for at least going to miss a few more games.
I mean, Penny Hart's been a decent.
Yeah, they put him on. They put D. Eskridge on IR. He's going to miss at least, I think,
because that
concussion.
entails at least 3 weeks.
3 more games.
Concussion.
That's
So
what I
it's
thought.
still the concussion that's not going to mount even longer.
That's what they're saying. I don't get it either, man. Because
Terrible.
it is.
Well,
man.
you got to stay away from injury. It's all about safety, honestly.
He got hurt in the first game of the season. That was like how long? That was like probably a month ago.
That was a really hard hit too.
It
It
was.
must have been a lot. Yeah, I mean,
Anyways.
he wasn't playing in the toughest division of college football, so maybe he just wasn't used to taking hits like that.
That's true.
It's one
Not a
hit,
knock on
man.
him though, but I'm just saying that could be.
I know.
I don't know.
Yeah. So again, the coaching has not made us feel very much like they're doing anything to really change the direction. It's like you have a ship in the sea, right? And the storm starts hitting. Well, you got to change your sails and do something. And it just feels like you said, like there's this stubborn sort of, let's just keep doing what we're doing. Just stick with this. And we'll just keep rolling with it. Other than what they did against the 49ers when they put Ryan Neal there and went into a dime package. That's the only thing I've seen where I felt like they adjusted to something. But then why did they go away from it when it worked? I just don't understand that. And I feel like we got to talk about it because it's kind of like the elephant in the room. But the Jamal Adams, I was so hyped about this. Now you defended it, Steezy, that it's not his fault.
Yeah.
That it's not him as the player, but it's the way we're using him.
Yep.
Martin, do you agree? Watching him lose that ball deep down in where he should have had an interception.
Definitely agree with Steezy right there. Honestly, okay, yeah, that's true. He should have covered better, but I don't know. I don't know if you guys were listening to Jake and Stacy today, but Jake keeps pointed out that he was just lost. He was just focusing on Deshaun Jackson. He didn't turn around and look for the ball at all. And second off, I don't think we're utilizing him correctly, like Steezy said. He's more of a blitzing guy, more like an inside the box safety, a hard hitter, run stopper type of guy. And we're not doing that with him. We're dropping him back in coverage, which is why we should use the dime package. So you can have Ryan Neal drop back there and have, maybe Jamal come in and blitz.
Put him on the line. Yeah, put him like another end or linebacker and just, I think they should use him like they did last year. He had
8.5 sacks?
9.5 sacks.
9.5 sacks.
In 12 games.
Yeah, in 12 games too. And
Imagine
this
what you
year
can do
he
with
has
17.
none.
Right.
Yeah,
because it's not working. It's not working. It's like you said. You're putting guys in places that you're not putting in positions to succeed. And I refuse to believe that Jamal Adams is just a horrible player. And then he's just terrible. I mean, we've seen it with another team and last year. We're not using him correctly. That's the thing. And a lot of guys, but right now it's like, man, how many of us are missing KJ Wright big time right now?
Big time.
And we could have had him. He was waiting in the wings. Hey, I'm just right here. And it just seemed to me they were just ready to. It's like, again, stubbornly. We gotta prove to everybody that Jordan Brooks was the right call. So we're not going to go and double back on that and make it look like, oh, that was a bad move if we just bring KJ back.
Honestly, though, I feel like Brooks maybe could have spent one more year under KJ and Bobby. You know, they could mentor him a little more. And then maybe after this year, we could have KJ Wright go. You know, something like that. I don't know about you.
Too late now.
Yeah.
It's too late now.
Yeah,
we missed several boats.
Yeah, we can't
And
play
he's
All right.
doing well with the Raiders, too. So that's,
Wait, Norb,
that's
real
kinda
quick,
salty.
just because
Yeah.
we were talking about Jamal. I know we were talking about how Seattle isn't necessarily putting them in the best positions to succeed. I also want to add, you know how earlier we were talking about against San Fran, you know, the dime package worked. Well, we're also not surrounding Jamal with the sort of playmakers he needs to be around. Now, if he's surrounded by more DBs on the football field, he doesn't have to focus so much on covering. He could convert more of his energy towards getting after the quarterback, stopping the run, you know, making those plays in the backfield, because that's what he's good at, right? He's more of a line of scrimmage type of player than he is away from the line of scrimmage. And so if he's surrounded on the field by opposing DBs, then he looks theoretically he should look better in coverage because he's being surrounded by better guys who can actually cover as opposed to being surrounded by an aging Bobby Wagner who's not nearly as good as he once was in coverage, or Jordan Brooks, who while he has a lot of potential, he can get after the run. He's not doing anything in coverage. And so when you're surrounded by other guys who can't necessarily cover, now that's being compounded. And so, you know, I hope that's, I don't know, there's going to be a lot of adjustments to be made. We'll get into it. But, you know, that's another thing I feel like that's contributing towards, you know, how atrocious he's looked.
Let's talk a little bit. Well, we got it. You talked a little bit about it, Steezy. Russell Wilson looks like he's out 6 weeks after they did surgery on that finger. Maybe it'll move up to earlier. We know Russ tends to push things, and he'll do everything possible and not sleep and get all 24 hours a day treatment to speed things up. So maybe he'll be back in a month, right? But I mean, realistically, though, he's probably gone for at least a month's time. You talked a little bit about it. We talked a little bit about Geno Smith coming in, but we only saw that one drive, really, and he was able to miraculously score on that one. It looked pretty good doing it. Do you feel like, could we be better off? Let me ask that a bit of a different way. Can Geno Smith come in here and still keep the Seahawks within, at least keep them alive, as opposed to assuming that we're just going to implode and the season's going to be over? I had a lot of people that once Russell Wilson went down, season's over. Is it over if Russell Wilson's gone? Can Geno come in and save the day? You know, can he replicate that magic he had on that drive? Martin, what do you think?
Well, I think Geno can. I believe in him. The problem is, can he do it consistently? I don't know if the Jets were the problem back when he was with them. You know, he had a rough time with them. But I don't know. It's like those few times that he played with, you know, the few times he bounced around teams, Jets, Chargers, you know, he wasn't exactly the most consistent guy. But, you know, he's been under Russell Wilson for a few years. Maybe Russell might have told him a few tricks. So, I mean, I'm definitely on the Geno hype train right now. I believe in him. I feel like he can keep us alive. It would be crazy to think that he could actually make us Super Bowl contenders. But for now, I feel like he can keep them alive.
You know, my buddy Pat, who we were at the games, I made this observation. It was just kind of confirmed. You know, Coach Marsh on the text said the same thing, and I said it to my friend Pat. I said, doesn't it seem like Geno has more time to throw? He has better protection? Why do you think that is? And my buddy Pat said, I think they're trying harder because they know he's a backup, so they're trying to work a little harder. I was like, well, that kind of sucks if they're not trying as hard when they're protecting Russell Wilson than they are with Geno.
They were trying harder. It's like what Steezy said earlier. It's because Geno's throwing checkdowns. You know, he's making the right decision, something that Russ usually doesn't do. I might get hate for this. I probably will. But you notice Russ, he's always trying to look for the deep ball, trying to make plays.
Well, the perfect example is that one sack. The sack he had it was second down. He put us in third down and 22. He was dancing, running around all over the place, and he needed to get rid of that ball because then it could have been third down and, you know, manageable instead, taking the sack.
He never feels like throwing it away for some reason. He's always running backwards, trying to make a play. Like, throw it away, and we'll have like a third and manageable, second and manageable, something like that. Geno Smith, you know, throwing checkdowns, you know, Russell never does. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's too short to see over the offensive line and throw it down the middle. Because we don't throw it down the middle to our tight ends or take the checkdowns as much. It's always the deep ball or throwing it outside, something like that. And Geno obviously is a lot taller than Russ, and
he's 6'3", right? And Geno says 6'3".
Yes, I believe 6'3". We all saw it last night. he was throwing checkdowns all over the place, being able to like move with his feet. And it's because and the offensive line, they didn't need as much time to block because, when Russell's on there, you have to block for like how long? 5-10 seconds, and whereas like Gino, no, 2 to 3 seconds, something like that. Maybe it wasn't too hard.
Yeah, he was pretty fleet of foot at a couple of plays, dodging rushers and scrambling. So he was able to do some of the stuff that Russell does. So it was pretty impressive. Steezy, what do you think? Can we make it? Do you think Gino can? We've only seen this small, tiny sample size, but do you think we could? Gino could lead us and keep us afloat, and at least to the point where Russell does come back, and then we'll have to decide who's going to be the best quarterback at that point for the team.
I'll say this. I'm not going to go as far as to say that, Gino is going to, lead us to glory, or Gino is going to be the reason why, let's say we end up going 3-0, right, in the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to say it's because of Gino. I think what's really going to stand out, or what's really going to shine, is Shane Waldron. I still have faith in Shane Waldron. I still have faith in Coach Pete Carroll. Now, if Geno Smith excels, it'll be because of Shane Waldron, the offensive scheme, and the playmakers around him. He has 2 superstars at receiver. He has 2 capable running backs in Chris Carson, Alex Collins. There's some name talent on defense, and if adjustments are made, if players are put in the right positions, can become competent again. Now, we don't know how likely that is, but we do know that the defense should be better, can be better, and hopefully will be better. The offensive line, it looked noticeably better when Geno Smith stepped in. And so we all know what Geno Smith's limitations are. And so that's the reason why I'm not trying to knock the player. I'm not saying that he can't be a superstar for us, but I'm just saying if he's going to succeed, it's going to be because of the coaching staff and because of the talent that he has around him. Now, I do believe he's capable of doing that because this is where I think Shane Waldron will excel. Now, because with Russell Wilson, I mean, he tends to excel, with broken down plays or whatnot, but that's just not a reliable and consistent way of manufacturing offense from a game-to-game basis. And maybe that's why, despite Russell being a superstar, the fact that we have an offense that's unsustainable, maybe that's what kills this team more so than we think. And so with Geno Smith, he has the playmakers, he has the coaching staff, he has hopefully a scheme around him to look good. And so I think that that's going to help in the regular season. Even though we know that our ceiling is a lot lower with Geno Smith, it's obviously a lot higher with Russell Wilson. I think it's going to be okay during the regular season. I mean, the Rams were able to protect Jared Goff all those years. And it was only really the last year or so in which he started to unravel. And I think that in Seattle, the guys around him can hide, his limitations. I think they could really have him playing at the most optimal level possible. And so to answer the question, Geno Smith alone isn't going to be the reason why, let's say we save the season. That's not going to be the reason why, but the coaching staff, the players around him, the scheme around him, guys wanting to play, I guess with a chip on the shoulders because the backup quarterback is in, all that is really going to factor into Geno Smith hopefully being successful with us for the next month and a half or so.
I do think that there is something to be said that with the Shane Waldron system, that I think it is very systematic, and you kind of have to stick with the plan. And we know that Russell Wilson tends to go off script and all that improvisation, that if Geno really is just more of a yes, sir, I'm going to run the system kind of play, that maybe Waldron and him will grow better together. And that by simplifying the fact that instead of making things up, you just follow the script, that maybe we'll see the Waldron system. And maybe, is it possible Russell is the reason we haven't seen it blossom as much, because he's been doing more of his own thing? I mean, it's very possible that the less is more kind of thing may help the new coordinator's system actually flourish. So, Seahawks Martin, I know you said you may have to go soon.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep. Normally around this time, I don't know if you guys have been watching this like 5 months ago, but usually I have a time limit. Since we're doing on Fridays now, I still have a time limit. I got to eat, obviously.
No problem.
So, nothing's better than dinner with the family. So I'm not going to take food up here and eat it, because
no
that'd be weird. I'd probably be making very weird ASMR, but yep, gotta go. But yeah,
all right.
It's great to be back. Thanks for having me, Norb, and thanks for being here with us. Norb and Steezy,
it's good to see you again, and thanks for your thoughts,
Likewise,
man.
Martin.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, Martin. It's great to have you again, Seahawks Martin. We'll see you later.
Guys next time.
All right. Well, we're close to wrapping things up, and I guess the last thing would be, Steezy, if you haven't mailed it in and said the season's done, well, what gives you hope to say to 12s out there, why should we still feel like we have a chance here? why should people not give up on the Seahawks at this point?
So on top of everything else that I've already said, 12s. To all the 12s out there, hear me out. We're going up against the Steelers on Sunday Night Football, and they have no sort of offense whatsoever to exploit our biggest weakness on the team, which is our defense. And so I'm not at all worried about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know it's in Pittsburgh. I know it's prime time, but we're going to be ready. Guys are going to be, guys that are playing with their backs against the wall. We're coming off a loss at home. We've yet to win a single home game. And so, look, guys are going to want to play harder. And I just don't look at the Pittsburgh Steelers as a legitimate threat. Their defense, while still somewhat elite, has taken a step backward from last year. And their offense, Ben Roethlisberger can't lead this team to score any sort of points. He can't push the ball down the field. They can't score yards. They can't even score any points, much less put yards up on the board. And so I'm not worried about Pittsburgh. After that, we're going up against the New Orleans Saints at home, prime time yet again, Monday Night Football. The New Orleans Saints, we might as well call them Jekyll and Hyde. They've had 2 dominated performances against the Packers, against the Patriots, and they've had 2 horrific performances against the Panthers and then the Giants. And so we don't know what we're going to get there, but what I do know is that they're a very inconsistent team. And for them to come into Seattle, into that hostile environment with Seattle, yet to win a single home game this season, Seattle's going to do everything in their power to win that game. And I just don't trust the Saints. They also, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they can't really seem to generate points even on a bad day. Their defense is also taking a step back. Alvin Kamara hasn't played the same. Michael Thomas isn't going to play. Don't be worried about the New Orleans Saints. After that, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, the worst team in football. I don't have to say anything else. After that, we have a bye. So that's 4 weeks, right? Let's say Russell Wilson does, he ends up having to miss more than a month. Okay, the game after that, we have the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. Okay, you might want to chalk it up as an L, but that's what? 3 games, 1 out of 4. And so now that's 5 weeks. And by then, if all goes according to plan, we'll be, 5-3? 5-4? So that's not going to be bad at all. After Green Bay, we have Washington in Seattle. And so maybe Russell Wilson comes back to that game. But Washington's defense, they've been looking like frauds this year. That defense has been absolutely horrible. Chase Young doesn't have a single sack on the year. You and I both had the same amount of sacks as Chase Young, a big fat 0. And that defensive line, that secondary can't stop anybody. So even if Russell Wilson wasn't to play in that game against Washington, I'm not worried about them. The only team that I'm worried about in the next 6 weeks is the Green Bay Packers. And we have a bye on top of that. And we all know about how tough Russell Wilson is. He's as tough as nails. He's a great competitor. As Coach Pete Carroll pointed out, he's one of the greatest healers out there. And so we all know what he does as far as his diet, his work ethic, off the field. He's going to do everything in his power to get back as soon as possible. But if we're winning games, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he can rest up. But, let's say he does take the entire 6 weeks. That takes us to Washington. After Washington, we have – I forgot to mention we have the Cardinals. Actually, I was getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, the Cardinals. We have the Cardinals. Yeah. We have the Cardinals between the Green Bay and the Washington game. I know the Cardinals right now are saying, "Thanks, Aaron Donald, for putting that hand up there and letting Russell smack his finger on your arm." Yeah, I know. Do you think are they for real? Do you think they keep this up? Do you think at some point they're gonna fall back because they're not as hot a start? No, the Cardinals. Do you think they're going to maintain this hot start? Are they destined to stay on top, or do you think they're going to drop?
But they do look a lot better. Especially on defense. They have superstars on defense. They're getting after the quarterback. They're stopping the run. Their secondary's playing a lot better. I know Coach Cliff Kingsbury's still the coach, but he's looking a lot more competent. And Kyler Murray, he's a legitimate MVP candidate. If I had to vote, I'd vote for Kyler Murray. He's been that good. He'll be able to cover up some of those teams' warts. I'm not going to say they're going straight to the Super Bowl, but I think they could definitely keep this up. It is the regular season too, and a lot of teams tend to get exposed in the postseason. They're definitely postseason locks, and that's all I can say. But Cliff Kingsbury, who has been holding it back in years past, he's looking a little bit more confident this season, and so who knows how far they'll go. But I'm actually a little worried about the Cardinals. Yeah.
Well, I guess just to add to it's hard. Believe me, I thought long and hard is what can I lean on to feel confident that we're going to things will get better. Because right after this game, obviously things went from bad to worse with the Russell Wilson injury and seeing our defense still struggle to, looking right now on pace to be one of the worst defenses of all time. But I guess the way I have to look at it is my hope is that in the past even last year, we start out with horrible defenses and they were able to turn around and become one of the best defenses in the league in the latter half of the season. The fact that we've done it before makes me feel like there's always that chance that they will get it figured out here at some point. Hopefully, just not before it's too late, because we're getting ourselves digging ourselves deeper into a hole. But if we can maintain serve, and like you said, Gino can come in here and help us get through some of these quote easier teams. Not that there's any easy team now the way we're playing, but if we can and get some momentum, maybe it's just enough to keep our heads above water. And then if we can get these things turned around, if things start to click, I feel like I do believe we have talent on this team. And once they figure out how to best use them and make the adjustments that are needed so that we can get the most out of these players, I feel like there's a better team out there. I feel like we're better than this. We are not as bad as we're playing right now. And so we just got to get that team out there. And I feel like it's there. It's like a combination, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. And they haven't quite figured out, this piece goes, no, I think it goes here. But like once it goes, it's like, oh, okay. There it is. There, I can see it now. And I feel like for whatever reason, they just haven't seen it. But maybe this adversity right here is the thing that will turn it around. Maybe the fact that with Russell Wilson being gone, maybe this will be the spark in an odd way. Like the worst adversity might be the one spark that can galvanize the team. So it's a lot to put on hope, because there's not been a lot to put hang your hat on so far. But this is pretty much what it's come down to. We've got to hope that the history can repeat itself. So, for what that's worth, that's what we got to hope for, because right now it doesn't get much lower than we're at right now. So when you're at the bottom, it's only up from here. So that's it. That's at least at this point. But Steez, I would definitely I wouldn't want to have you leave the show without you at least telling everybody a little bit about what you've been up to, what's on your show, what can they look forward to seeing on your channel.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, it's always an honor. It's always a pleasure doing this, Norb. Thank you so much for having us. And, I definitely can't wait to start doing this on a regular basis again. That being said, I did see that you hit 47K. So to everybody out there, let's get this man to 50, please. We've been asking for some time now. So come on, y'all. Let's help him get there. Hopefully before the end of this year. That'd be great. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, as Squabo says, at NorbCam, Seahawks Martin, Coach Marsh, please, subscribe to his channel on YouTube. And then you can find me at Steezy A. Smith on YouTube, primarily on YouTube, other social medias as well, same handle. Pretty much I've been up to the same thing, I'm taking some time off of school to kind of focus more on this. And I know I've been saying this for some time now, but I'm actually looking to start live streaming more. I actually had one a couple of weeks ago on Instagram, and I thought that went fairly well. And so I kind of like this live streaming thing, and I'll probably start off with StreamYard, start doing that, start dropping more. NBA season is about to start, so I definitely want to have some sort of NBA show. But fantasy football is still something that's been going strong as well. So once I start live streaming, there'll just be more weekly shows on my channel. So definitely stay tuned for that. And as always, go Hawks.
All right. That's it, you guys. Yep. Definitely follow the guys that Steezy just said, and of course Steezy's channel, and yours truly as well. So let's keep the faith, keep the hope. It's still, I keep saying it, it's still early, but there's still enough time to dig ourselves out of the hole. We just gotta put some faith into these coaches and these players that they'll get it together, and maybe this worst point in our season could be the best point, as it turns out. Maybe it'll be the turning point for this team. We got to have some faith. All right, we'll talk to you guys all later. Have a great weekend, and go Hawks.